faithfulness is.
Religion has compels me, and I love it for it, to be against discrimination of any kind in our country.
Our rights come from nature and God, not from government.
All God asks of you is faithfulness.
35 years of fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture.
This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
And we welcome you to AFA Today. We are so thankful that you're with us. Kevin McCullough, glad to be back with you after the holiday break, and I hope that it was a refreshing time for you. You'll be able to hopefully get focused again for the new year as we're off and running. And there's a lot to be concerned about, friends. A lot of people asked me over the weekend, do you think that 2014 is going to be busier or less busy than it was this last year in 2013? And I said, there is absolutely nothing that tells me that it is going to be anything other than even more chaotic and hectic than it was a year ago. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to watch, a lot to keep our eye on. For some reason, I am unable to post the stories that I want to use this hour on the afatoday.com page. We're gonna work on that and get right back to you with the links for that shortly. But if you want to jump over to the Kevin McCullough Facebook page, I do have the stories that I want to bring to your attention today, and I hope that they will be useful. If you were tuned in the last couple of days, you know there were some specials that AFA ran here in this time slot starting the new year, and I want to say just for a second, thank you to the staff for letting me take those days off. Those were days, time well spent with the ankle biters. They were running around every morning for very, very, very excited 3-year-old and 1-year-old, excitedly getting up on my lap and, Daddy, you're here. Daddy, it's fun. Let's go have fun. Can we go play in the Christmas room? Because where we live now, we had a room where the tree was in, and that was where all the gifts were. And then after the tree was down, that was where we started playing with the cars and trucks and trains and planes when we were all done, and we had a great time. But in the last couple of days, if you happen to hear the Kevin McCullough Show, which is heard in the evenings on many of these same stations, you heard a two-part conversation with senior pastor of the Brooklyn Tabernacle, Jim Cymbala, that is going to perpetuate what we do here on AFA Today as well. And that is, for the year of 2014, I've been seeking and praying and asking God, what is it that you want me to help the nation point to as something specific and tangible that will actually make an overall impact in the life of our nation? Because I will tell you, friends, just being politically active is not going to do much of anything. I'm not saying we shouldn't be politically active, but making it just politics is not going to do it. Saying that we got to get certain party members elected because they belong to a party and not because of what they believe or stand for, that's not going to cut it. And so I was doing some fasting and some praying and some seeking of God, as I do at the end of every year and going into a new year. And the thing that was kind of impressed upon me, that was important, that I think that I can help with, I think that I can bring a contribution to the table along these lines, is to help focus us as people that want to engage in this endeavor that we go through in the next year. I can help bring some focus to some ways that we can pray for our nation that will actually make a difference. Things that we can pray for, things that we should be praying about, people that we need to pray for, and especially ones that we both agree and disagree with, because the ones that we agree with, sometimes we give a pass to on things we shouldn't, and ones we disagree with, we sometimes are insanely unfair towards. At the end of the day, friend, I don't know that America's best days in terms of morally and culturally are still in front of us. I live in a part of the country where yesterday a mayor was sworn in who said, hey, every single progressive, leftist, liberal, atheistic, weirdo idea I campaigned for as mayor, when I campaigned as mayor, I intend to accomplish every one of those. That was the gist of Mayor de Blasio's acceptance speech as the New York mayor. Then President Clinton, who had sworn him in, got up immediately following and said, and I agree with everything that, well, he said it more like, I agree with everything he just said. I think we should do all of that and some more. So in certain places, I do think the divide is getting wider in the culture. I think the issues are becoming more problematic. I think that the persecution of those that have strong belief in their faith and in their God, I think they're going to be called into question. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people asking a lot of other people to make a lot of compromise in this year. So here's what I did for the last couple of days. I just asked my friend, Pastor Jim Cymbala, who's pastor of the Brooklyn Tabernacle, and anytime any of you come to New York and you want to see what the body of faith in New York really looks like, go visit Brooklyn Tab. It doesn't hurt that they have an eight-time Grammy-winning choir leading worship. But aside from that, the simple preaching of the unadulterated truth of God's Word is something that is really profoundly appreciated here in New York by yours truly and about 10,000 other people every week. Now, I don't attend Brooklyn Tab. I'm not a member. I don't have any dog in this fight. I sense that God has done something in Pastor Cymbala's heart that is a burden for the nation, and he and I have agreed to do something. We have agreed to come up with this prayer focus where every Monday, let's say, for the new year, and we'll start it this coming Monday, we will point your thoughts in a direction for something that you could then spend the week praying about. And I'll remind you a couple of times through the week, but we'll say this is what we want to focus on. And so this week, as you're praying, focus on this through your prayer life. And friends, I think I have the audacity to believe God that if we do this for 52 weeks, that we might actually have some impact on the world around us. We might actually have some change in some areas of not just the culture, but in us that need to be dealt with. So here's what I'd like to offer. We're going to do this on the air. We're going to give you this focus on the air. But if you would like to receive it in your inbox at no cost or anything like that, it's just anybody that wants to, and we have a few dozen that have signed up just in the last couple of days. But if you would like to be a praying person with Pastor Jim Cymbala, Kevin McCullough, and the hundreds of thousands that are eventually going to embrace this over the next year, we will be glad to drop this in your inbox at no cost to you in a very simple, easy way, and we're not going to hit you with anything else. Just give you the prayer focus. Here's all you have to do. Send me an email, kmcradio@gmail.com, and in the subject line, just put pray. If you send me an email with the subject line pray, I will add you to that list, and every Monday you will get the same prayer focus that we will talk about on the air and then encourage people to pray through. And we'll go through an entire year together, praying together. You and me and Pastor Cymbala and the Brooklyn Tabernacle congregation and brothers and sisters across America in hundreds of cities will be focusing and narrowing down our vision for what God really wants to do by praying for one another, for our nation, for our leaders, and for the outcome of the elections that will be taking place next year. I'm excited about this. And I hope that it is something that blesses a lot of people, and particularly I hope it's something that blesses you. So anyway, send me the email, kmcradio@gmail.com. Just put pray in the subject line. You don't have to put anything more than that on there. That's all I need. We'll be able to get it to you. And again, these will be exclusive prayer-focused reminders from Pastor Cymbala, a lot of stuff that will come out of the pulpit of what he's teaching about this year. But we will take it, we will amplify it, we'll give it a prayer focus, and we will say, hey, here's something that we can be praying about this year. And I've already seen the first several that have been put together. I've helped tweak them and write them. They're going to be great things for us to pray about. So I hope that you will take that challenge and take us up on the opportunity to pray together. As we become a praying nation, I believe God will do great things. I don't believe that it will necessarily mean all the persecution is going to be gone. There's a lot of things that I think it doesn't mean. I just have the audacity to believe God that he will do something great in 2014 if we ask him to. If we ask him to and are willing to step into it, I believe that we could do that. All right, so if you want that, kmcradio@gmail.com, and you can go there and do that today. All right, here's some of the stories that I'm watching for you. The Supreme Court yesterday did something very interesting, and it came from a very interesting member of the Supreme Court. The court, one judge representing the court, has put a temporary stay on the mandatory mandates that the Obamacare law had contained within it, specifically those things that would violate conscience. And it came from an interesting justice. I'll tell you about the story coming up. But we also have a dark day in California today. We have started a new season in the educational process there that I don't understand, I don't get, and I sure don't want to see multiply across the union. I don't even want to see it happening in California, but we've got to deal with it because it's there. And then there was one of the yes, the pop cultural thing that happened in the last few days. I don't know. We've talked about Melissa Harris Perry before, right? The African-American news anchor on MSNBC. She does an opinion show. I think it's mostly on weekends. The last time that we discussed her, I believe she had cut some female feminine products in half and had made earrings out of them and put them on her ears and was saying something about how the pro-life voters in Texas didn't want the women of Texas to have proper sanitary feminine products, and so she was going to wear them on her ears. She was in some way trying to make a pro-abortion statement, but it was some odd, bizarre communication tool that she used that she made these custom earrings. Well, she's back in the news because this last week she put up a story and read the copy and then showed a picture on her television show. And it was a picture of the Romney family, the multiple generations of the Romney family, and in the center of the family was this new grandson that one of the sons has adopted, and he happens to be of dark skin. He happens to be black. So Mitt Romney has a black grandson that's been adopted, and I don't even know the full story behind why the family adopted him, but he obviously was a child that they felt it was important to do. Well, instead of being magnanimous and gracious and something else, Melissa Harris Perry came on, and someone on her panel started singing, "One of these things doesn't look like the other ones." It was really offensive. Well, she took a couple of days of heat for that, and then issued quote an apology on Twitter of all things, heartfelt apology on Twitter. You know, you get all of 140 characters to make that apology count when you're apologizing on Twitter. So I'm sure she used the full 140 as to the best. Actually, she used less than that because she made a hashtag MHP apology. And if you know anything about social media, you know that people create hashtags because they want people to begin talking about the subject of what they have just written about. So instead of just calling the Romneys or issuing an email to them or writing a letter or even doing something on her television show where she defamed them and said, "Look, Mr. and Mrs. Romney, I'm sorry that I made fun of your biracial family. As a black woman, that is something I should not have done. As someone who's concerned about race in America, that's something I should not have done. I'm grateful that you care to love a child of any race, and the fact that you've done so is an admirable thing. And I'm sorry I was like this. I just won't do that anymore." And they should have just that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. I'll get into what happened and why, and get your opinion on it as well. But we've got a lot of news to get to. So I'm glad that you're with us here on AFA Today on AFR Talk. I'm Kevin McCullough. By the way, you can talk to me. My phone number, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Kevin McCullough wishing you a Happy New Year as we kick off this brand new season of broadcast here on the American Family Association Radio Network, AFR Talk to be specific. Stay with us. Coming right back.